Well, hello there, and thank you for joining us for Confessions and Convictions. It is Monday already. Hope you got your cup of coffee ready. Doesn't everybody have their Starbucks R2D2C 3CPO mug? I always joke about that. Hey, today, in baseball they have a thing called Contender and a Pretender. Now, a pretender is a team that sort of looks good on paper, but really doesn't compete much, kind of like the Mets this year. But a contender, now a contender's a different thing. And why do I bring this topic up today? Because the Bible tells us we should contend for our faith. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's take a look. It could mean one person is contending, or it could mean a whole team is contending, which is like a church. And usually it's about taking a strong stance. Now, it also means to compete and to vie. So as you're in that stance, kind of like the sword or whatever your stance is, and you're competing and you're vying, because in Paul's day they had a lot of Olympics. Well, it was for a reason. And what was that reason? It was to achieve something, much like a prize, bronze, a gold, a bronze, silver, gold medal, or as if it's a team kind of thing, like a championship, the Super Bowl or the World Series, something like that. Of course, if we're contending for something, it's because we highly value it, and we have a goal in mind, and it's the belief that pushes us on to go do that. So we engage in a struggle. That's what contenders do. It's not just given to them or handed to them, is it? It's not, hey, here it is. No, it means that you have to fight for it. And so they face a challenge, an opposition, a jockey for a position, kind of like going up for a rebound. And there has to be quite a bit of overcoming obstacles along the way. And with that in mind, there's some scriptures that tell us about this. And let's take a look at some of these scriptures. Jude 1:3 tells us to contend earnestly for the faith that was once delivered to all the saints. Okay? Once for all delivered to the saints. So 1 Timothy 6:12 also tells us, and Paul was a good one about this, being the Jewish poster boy, I think this still is in the back of his mind. Fight the good fight of faith. Take hold of the eternal life which you are called. 2 Timothy 4:7 tells us, I have fought the good fight, I've finished the race, I've kept the faith. Paul wanted to finish strong. He wanted to do good. Of course, it's nothing that we do that gets us any further. It's what the Lord's already done for us. But, sometimes you have that mentality, do, until you do it all over the place. And Ephesians 6:12 tells us to not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the spiritual forces of, that's right, you guessed it, evil. And you will have opposition. Philippians 1:27 tells us to stand firm as a team in one spirit, our church, striving side by side for the faith of the gospel. Now, if you believe in the gospel, you're going to share it. You're going to promote it. If you don't, probably sit on your hands and do nothing. 1 Corinthians 9:24 also tells us to run that race. Remember Paul? He would probably be pretty good today in about the arenas of football and basketball and soccer and baseball and hockey. He'd probably be up on all those sports as he was in Rome. And he said to run in such a way as to get the prize. Okay, so you got to play by the rules, but have the discipline of yourself for the faith. So that means a daily practice. Hebrews 10:23 tells us to hold unswervingly to the hope that we profess. Anybody can confess and profess. For he who has promised is faithful. Oh, okay, that's the key right there. It's not so much that we hold on to Christ, although we should abide in him. We shouldn't abandon him. However, it's Christ that holds on to us. Romans 12:21 tells us to not be overcome by evil. And in this world, it's pretty easy to do that. But overcome the evil with good. And Colossians 1:29 tells us, to this end I labor and I struggle with all energy because it's him that works so powerfully in me. And finally, 2 Corinthians 10:3-4 says, For we walk in the flesh, but we do not wage war in the flesh carnal arena nature. We get on our knees, we pray the Lord. The Lord does our battling for us. We're just along for the ride. Well, thanks again for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. May the Lord bless and keep you. As we're in Phoenix, and it's 111 degrees today. Oh, hot right after the 4th of July. And so I look forward to seeing you the next time. And may the Lord bless and keep you. Till then, God bless. Have a wonderful day. Grow in the grace of the Lord. And don't keep the gospel to yourself. Share it. There you go.